Hello, welcome to the new episode of Youth DemocrAID. We are Youth for Equality from Slovakia and Trnava. We are here today with Ali from Európsky Dialóg. Hello, welcome.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So today in this episode, we are going to talk about role of civic engagement and call to action. And our guest Ali is going to talk about his experience. So Ali, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
I think you gave pretty much the introduction already. So I work for Európsky Dialóg in Trnava. We are a youth and media association. We focus a lot on projects regarding active citizenship, civic engagement, gamification, media literacy, and some other wild projects too. And I'm a project manager, writer, and trainer.
Okay, so a lot of interesting things. Very, very diverse. Okay, so let's start talking about the role of civic engagement. So what does a civic engagement mean to you?
Okay, well, I actually like to start because we usually put the terms active citizenship and civic engagement, like we use them interchangeably. So for me to understand civic engagement, I have to think about active participation. And active participation means having an understanding, like a theoretical understanding of your rights, your obligations, and duties as a responsible, decent citizen. And civic engagement is the practical part. This is like at least my interpretation of it. So the civic engagement is putting the commitment to practice in what you believe and what you understand about the public life.
Okay.
And overall to make the commitment of making public life better. That would be like civic engagement for me.
Okay, interesting. I never thought about it in such a distinction. Okay, right. And why do you think a civic engagement is important, especially to young people, for young people?
Well, it's kind of important because democracy comes like through civic engagement, and it's not a spectator's game. You cannot just like look around and like not act and do anything. So participating is what essentially makes democracy thrive. It's really important for that. The other part is also representation for younger people, to understand that their voices are heard and their opinions matter in this sense. So that's why it's really important for young people to be part of the community and be active, because other people end up making their choices. So that's one. Another thing that kind of goes unheard of, but is the soft skills that you learn through being civically engaged. The part, like the process, it requires critical thinking, it requires digital and media literacy to know how to use those things. Organizing, planning, like try to organize an event. Like you're saying you're organizing events, which it's an act of civic engagement, and you know that you have to do so many things, like communicate with people, find like different things. It's a lot. But those set of skills are best, let's say, adopted when you are civically engaged, because at least you learn those things and you do something good and you represent yourself as well. It's all in the same time.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's important.
Okay, so it's kind of a learning process for yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. You learn so many things that you didn't know that you have to know.
Yes.
So it's definitely amazing. Scary a bit in the beginning, but definitely rewarding.
Yeah, doable. Okay. And have you noticed any shift in the way that young people relate to political debate or political life these days?
Yeah, the shift is actually something we're still trying to understand. As we do some research regarding civic participation. Okay, I put both together: civic participation and active citizenship. We try to understand how the young people are more vocal, and it's going to forms as an artivism, which is like activism through art. And then you have digital engagement. So now you have a lot of social media strategies and campaigns made by local politicians, youth. So it has gone more to the digital side, which we have to start understanding how it works. And then also the medium of how people are engaged, like memes, like online polls, online petitions. So it's shifted a bit on the digital side, and that's what we are most interested in. So yeah, that's the biggest notice I've seen from youngsters.
Okay, that's interesting. And do you think one is more important than the other, or do you think they kind of
like
goes the digital versus the community, let's say community
I
involvement?
think it's complementary, actually, because online you can do a lot of call for action and get people engaged. And then when you have to actually do it, like you're running a campaign now for the health week or for the run, Like you can do that digitally, you get a big outreach of people, but then it's still equally important to show up. Because if
Yes.
you don't like actually show up and do it, then it doesn't matter.
Yes, of course. Okay. And do you think that young people face any barriers to engage into such activities, or are there any barriers from participating?
They are definitely some. Because I was in an event here in Trnava. It was a Pass Together, which is the European Parliament ambassador schools. There were like 250 youngsters that were here, and I was the moderator. So we got to ask questions with the group. It was the best way of getting like insight from youngsters from 6 different countries, like Austria, Croatia, Hungary, Czechia, and some other, Slovakia as well. And they were describing like what is their biggest issue now, like what's stopping them from being engaged, what is stopping them from like moving on with their lives. And living costs are one of the biggest barriers, because when you have a 16-year-old that not just wants to supplement their own pocket money, but also like at this point help their parents, just to be okay. That means that 4 hours you're working your part-time job in the week, if you could have volunteered somewhere, you could have made a change. So I think something that's pretty palpable and youngsters feel is the living costs that actually like hurt civic engagement. But then you have like the known issues that the political jargon. Sometimes it can be really confusing, even for experts and like older people like yourself, to think like, okay, I don't understand what they're saying, and it's intentional, So that the complex systems, there are so many elections you have to take part of. Like when we write proposals, we're like, okay, let's get ready for the European Parliament elections, but then these elections and then those elections. And so the landscape is pretty diverse and pretty spread out, and people can't find somewhere to focus. So I would say that, and of course, the obligations that young people have now. You're not just needing to go to school, but in order to be competitive in work or in career or in life, you need to do also other things. So there's like not enough time for people to be engaged. So those, I would say, were the barriers.
Okay, yes, great. You did mention quite a few barriers actually there. It's interesting that even though we mentioned that it can be for free, it can be like the online participation. It doesn't require any money for that, but still, because people have to work part time often and they have maybe too many responsibilities, it might be hard to actually still get involved. Yes, and another interesting thing you said there, actually, which I really agree with, is that the political jargon, it sometimes might seem like that politics is something that's discussed just in like political circles, or maybe just with a beer in a pub, and it's not really meant for young people, and that they might feel that they don't really have their word don't really matter, or they don't have what to say, and no one will listen to them. So this is also one of the reasons why we're doing this podcast and Youth Democratic Project, to actually bring this topic to young people, to understand that they do matter, and what they have to say is really important, and in the end they are the ones who are going to shape our future. So, and we try to bring it to them in a really way that they can understand what we are talking about. So it's not some not related topic. Yes. So
No, just not just that, but also like understanding that your points are valid.
Yes.
Your concern for this is valid. We understand that it's an issue for everyone,
Yes.
including youngsters and also older people.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and can you maybe share one example of young people when they make a real impact or a real difference?
Yeah, well, the first thing that comes to mind was from my old high school in Greece. It's difficult being civically engaged because I lived in Greece, Bulgaria, and Slovakia in different parts of my life. So I tried to have like something from each country, but the one that I remember the most was near my neighborhood from my old school. They had this, so our school in Greece was of course near the sea, but the sea was really dirty, and had a lot of litter and a lot of garbage that was collected. So our school that wasn't collected. So our school had this initiative of with the students that lived around there to make a team and do the cleaning of the beach. the beachfront essentially. So they would take days of school or hours with their teachers, and they would go there and clean up the whole beach, so that then, let's say when it's around May or June, we could go there and sit as a group, or sit with your friends and just enjoy the sea, like have some juice because you're in high school, and yeah, just enjoy. So that was for me, like, it had so much of an impact because everyone was complaining about the sea. No one made a difference. The municipality didn't do anything, and it was up to the school and the teacher and the students. That was it. They didn't have any funding or anything. They were like, we just need trash bags, wherever I can get. Like, you can go to the supermarket and get many trash bags for like €2. Gloves to collect, and it really made a difference. Like the next day, we didn't have to wait to go through a process. So that, I think, was one of my favorite examples from young people.
Okay, that's a very inspiring. And talking about schools, do you think that schools in general do enough for young people to maybe get engaged, or maybe do you see any difference between the countries like Slovakia, Greece, and Bulgaria?
I will refer to my experience in Greece because that's where I was formally taught in school. And no, we didn't have anything about civic. We had so much in theory about, like, we had sociology that would be the closest into it, but we didn't have a subject regarding like civic engagement. And it's difficult for schools. Like, as a non-formal educator, we sometimes have contact with schools and see like what kind of curriculum they have, and we try to develop manuals and handbooks for these teachers because they don't have it in their curriculum. The issue is not because I think schools don't care that much, is that it's a really high-paced, let's say, environment, but in the schools it's very structural and slow. So even if you want to make a huge change to that, the systems won't allow it. The educational system cannot make a change that fast, no matter how much we're hopeful for. The same was also in Bulgaria, because I spoke to some teachers there. I don't know about Slovakia. I just had some experience with high schools where, actually, with Youth for Equality, in a project that you coordinated, was called Civic Debate Club. Still, I really like that project. We went to the high school and we showed the importance, and we actually created a curriculum for teachers and educators in order to have some access to civic engagement, active participation. And that one, we did it through the forms of debates, like how to make a debate in school, how to get young people interested. So it's difficult, it needs time, but that doesn't mean that youngsters cannot still be civically engaged. That's why we have NGOs as well.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like we have maybe more capacity to keep up with the changes and innovation, and are more equipped to adjustments and flexible.
We can adapt much faster as well. Having also young volunteers to help and youngsters there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for that. We talked about role of civic engagement. Maybe let's move a little bit to talking about a call to action. What can actually young people really do now? So let's say, imagine a now 16-year-old come to you and ask you, what can I do? I really want to make an impact, maybe in my school or in my community. What can I do?
Start with a passion. You need to have a passion for something, because in being civically engaged or being an NGO or having such, let's say, motivation to do something altruistic, you need that power to push you forward. And it's passion. It's not an easy thing. It's passion also that gets you into conflict with people that are against maybe what you're thinking or not supportive. So first find it, whatever that is: social justice, environmentalism, inclusion, and then research about it. So it's good to have a passion, but you need to know also like what is behind how it started, and like how you can link it with other things. Then I would call it like needs analysis, risk assessment, SWOT analysis, you can call it, but more importantly, figure out what's wrong. See what other schools are doing, and not see what they're doing right, but see what maybe they're doing wrong or where they're lacking, and try to do that as well. So be curious in that sense. And last but not least is like really go out to your local NGOs and authorities, but you can start with the NGOs and ask them what kind of programs and curriculums they have, what kind of trainings, anything. Because it's sometimes we working in the NGOs are frustrated because we develop all these things, but not a lot of people come to us to like ask for, okay, how can I start a campaign? How can I do this and that? So just imagine that in any country you are, in any region, there's always an NGO or some NGO workers or youth workers that are ready to really explore your passion and give you the tools in order to do that. And I think if you're 16, that's a good start. Then you can go on. But also something, because I was getting this passed together, this were people from the members, there were members of the European Parliament. And they also were encouraging youngsters, just contact us. This is why we're there. If you have something you want to do on a higher level, perhaps, or even local, but do contact your MEPs because they're there for you to like maybe give you a chance to travel, let's say to Brussels, so you can see how things work, how to become more politically engaged. So yeah, I think it'll be a good chance to like contact them.
Yes. So passionate, curious, and active.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Great. And what would you suggest? How can young people stay informed in today's world, especially to make sure that they do get the correct information without feeling maybe overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I'm also currently trying to do that for myself. I think it may sound counterintuitive, but I think you should really focus on a couple of topics. It's very difficult to be attuned to all the things that are happening. And we even had this debate with other coworkers of mine, like not a debate, but like as a discussion, like, okay, but what about this problem? What about that problem? There's so many things happening at this moment. But it's okay. It's really okay if you just want to focus on one or two things, find your credible sources, people that you can trust. There are also influencers and content creators that summarize all the world's news in like 20-minute videos, and they're great for like the morning day because they're I don't know, hip. They give some nice feedback to it. So find people that you think are literate, are critical, and just stick to a few. And another thing is to avoid echo chambers. So an echo chamber is essentially something that derives from social media, but also friends, is that if you find yourself with a group of people that are very passionate or are very like special to what you're researching or interested about, you will hear the same opinions, like an echo going from here to there. So first, realize if you're in an echo chamber, and second, try to maybe escape it to see maybe the other side of things. This is essentially critical thinking. You don't just stick to what you know and what you hear from people that are the same thing, but also countering it with arguments, and it kind of gives you your own standing. And once you have that, I think you'll be easier to you will have better skills to manage where you stand and what you consume.
Okay.
I think more or less in a nutshell.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting, and it kind of connects to what you mentioned before, to reach out to NGOs who already are kind of walking in those waters and who probably know more, and you get to network and meet people who are interested in the same topics, so you can learn and educate yourself more in that area.
There are also like NGOs that their job is to raise awareness.
Yes.
So if you have someone that's doing that, do follow them and like see what they're going about. They do. I get my news also sometimes from other NGOs. Yeah.
Okay, and maybe a last question for you. What would you say to a young person who think that my voice doesn't matter anyway?
Maybe a couple of things. First is the voice. It does matter. So it's not a solo performance being civically engaged. It's a chorus. You have other people, backup singers, lead singers. Your voice does matter in a group of people. And so one thing is to find other individuals that can voice the same opinions, the same things that you also want to do, or even empower you. The other thing about my voice, if my voice really matters, is consistency. For me, I think that's the key for many things. And I don't want to be one of those like motivators, like go to school every day, do this every day. But point is, like, you can find a very silly example. If I go and shout out once a day in the window, just one time, if I shout out something provocative, like people want to hear, it will go unheard the next day. If I do this 2 days in a row, someone will notice. I heard that yesterday, 3, 4 times. Move on. That makes a difference. You get heard. Someone's going to question it. Someone's going to hear it. Your voice matters, but it won't matter if it's just. I don't want to say it won't matter just once, but voicing opinions in many different ways and many times accumulates. It makes a difference in the long run.
Okay, so having that consistency in your actions.
Yeah, yes. Showing up. This is also why there were protests here in Trnava as well. And it was really nice seeing that people were, like, more or less the same amount of people showed up. If it was just one, or if it was just the first day there were a lot, and then the next days there weren't that many, it wouldn't matter that much. But everyone's voices did matter because they were there every time. And consistency really matters in advocacy. Just take, if you want, the Greta Thunberg side, which she combines digital activism and like being essentially engaged, but it was also being consistent. Every time there was something to protest about or to voice, she was there. And it worked for her and many other people that we haven't heard yet. So yeah.
Yes. Okay. So consistency.
Consistency and solidarity, like with other people together. That's what the EU is about.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you. So this brings us kind of to the end of the podcast. Do you have any final thought that you would like to give to our young listeners? Maybe one advice, or final thought?
Yeah, I have one which stuck to me. There was a person that was working for the European Parliament that was a guest speaker in this Pass Together event here. And he gave this advice. He just said to the students, if you can keep one thing, it is show up. It's like, be there. If you're starting something, he said his story, he started with just a banner and some post-its and he wanted to get impressions and people talking. And it was raining, he was still there. When there was no one to give him attention, he was still there. And like now he's part of a big communications, let's say, charter. And that's what he said, just show up, no matter what your opinion is, how much you're afraid of people accepting it, just there. So I would like to take that as well and just say to people, show up. If it's online, if it's offline, just be there, be with the other people too.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. So I want to thank you, Ali, from Európsky Dialóg for being here today.
Thank you.
And that brings us to an end. So today we talk about role of civic engagement and call to action. If you do feel inspired, please feel free to follow us on Facebook or our website, our project DemocrAID, and we will share more activities and insights. Thank you.
Thank you.